Hello, everybody. This is Gary Matheny. Good to see you today. It is December 2024, and I'm continuing in answering questions at the request of my daughter to build a memory. And today's question relates to my honeymoon, or I should say, our honeymoon. Me and my wife, Michelle, were married. I believe it was on December 30th, 1989. I hope she doesn't watch this because sometimes I think it's December 29th, but it's actually December 30th, 1989. Well, some of these holidays are kind of like hand grenades, just get close. And that's a good basis in which to get chewed out by your wife if you can't remember the anniversary. And so we've been married many years, and we've got 3 adult daughters. And so today I'm going to talk about our honeymoon from 1989, and of course the first week of 1990. Why did we choose that date? Well, at the law firm I worked for up in St. Louis, at the end of 1989, I had used all my vacation time, so I didn't have any time off to take from work. But you accrue your vacation time on January 1st. And so, commencing January 1st, 1990, I accrued another couple weeks, and we were only going to dedicate a week for our honeymoon, and therefore later in the year I could take another week. So that's why a Christmassy, holiday season, New Year's Eve type of date was chosen because we could take a week off right away without causing any problems with our employer. Well, we spent our first married night, a Saturday night, at a bread and breakfast, I believe was in the Soulard area up in St. Louis. And I think it was called Rosehaven. And I remember on the bed that was spread out at this bed and breakfast, it had the little rose petals. And so it was a little bit dainty for my taste, but it is our wedding night, so it was a nice little touch, and it was a nice thing for the B&B owner to do. He knew, or she knew, that it was our wedding night. So the following day was Sunday, and we flew out from St. Louis down to Miami, Florida. And we rented a car. And I had chosen, now mind you, this was really before the era of the explosion of the internet. I had chosen a resort down in Key Largo, which is about halfway down the Keys from southern Florida through the Keys, and then you have Key West at the very end. So it was centrally located in the Keys, and I've always wanted to visit the Keys, and my honeymoon gave me the opportunity to do so. Well, the resort that I chose was chosen via travel agency. So I went to a travel agency up in St. Louis, and they really used to have physical buildings that were travel agents. And you go in there and you review the brochures, you talk to the people, and lo and behold, I chose a resort at Key Largo, and so seemed good choice to me from where I was standing in St. Louis, Missouri. The problem was that after we got to Miami, we rented a car, and we drive down to Key Largo. Is that the the resort was going through major innovations. Major innovations. There was jackhammering going on, and it wasn't maintenance. This was major renovation. So I went to the people there and I said, "This is just too much of a distraction. There's too much work going on there. I want a refund." And I told them, because I am a lawyer and I'm probably, at least when I was younger, too much of a lawyer's mentality. I said, "Hey, look, I'm going to be here all week and I want to pick up my refund check on Friday. And so if the refund check isn't available on Friday, then I'm going to stop by the courthouse and file a lawsuit against you all." And so went on about my honeymoon and came back on Friday, and my refund check was there, and so everything was hip or cool. Probably at this age, I would not have threatened the resort with a lawsuit if they didn't have my refund check by Friday. In the rearview mirror, it seems kind of a little bit too much lawyer's mentality. Well, where we wound up with was at a Sheraton resort. After that, I kind of came to the conclusion that a lot of these independent, privately owned resorts can be very nice and can offer you, things that the regular resorts can't. The chain resorts like Sheraton. But at least if you go to a Sheraton resort or a Hilton resort or one of a Disney resort, you're going to get what you expected, and you're not going to be bothered outside your door with a whole bunch of jackhammering going on. So anyhow, we wound up at a Sheraton resort at Key Largo, and it worked out fine. It was really nice. It was exactly what we would expect or desired, and probably should have chosen one of those type of resorts from the word go, because it has the name behind it and the reputation. So what did we do that week? Well, we had a number of day trips. On one of our day trips, we went snorkeling. We also walked along the beach. We spent a day in the Everglades. We drove up to the Everglades and looked at the swamps, and they had some plank paths at where we were at in the Everglades, so you can kind of walk through along these plank paths and take a closer look at the Everglades, which was cool. We also spent a day at Key West, and I remember touring the Hemingway home, Ernest Hemingway home, and Key West, at least back in 1989, was a really cool place to be. It had kind of an ambiance about it, an atmosphere about it that was very enjoyable to a tourist like me. One other thing that we did, we went to the Orange Bowl, because I'm a football fan. We went up to Miami and went to the Orange Bowl, and I think it was Colorado versus Notre Dame or something like that. I'm pretty sure Colorado was in the game. And it may have been the year that they won a national championship. So that was cool, going to the Orange Bowl. One thing I remember about the Orange Bowl was that we showed up wearing T-shirts. And then once the sun set in Miami and the wind chill kicked in, it was a little bit windy. I guess you get an ocean breeze. It's the last day of the year, late December, early January, and it got chilly. So I did buy a sweatshirt at the Orange Bowl, and I remember, paying like $40 for a sweatshirt, which back then created a lump in my throat, but it was kind of like, boy, I got to wear a sweatshirt because it's just getting too cool, which was kind of interesting in South Florida because at that time of year, you still had very nice weather. In December and January, you could walk along the beaches. You could even go snorkeling or scuba diving and not feel like it's just too bitterly cold. But in the evening, with the ocean breeze and the sun being down, it cooled off pretty significantly, and you need either a sweater or a light jacket. So we did lots of pleasant, enjoyable things on our day trips in South Florida, and I recommend anyone to spend some time in South Florida. It's an enjoyable, beautiful area of the country. Of course, I'm going back 35 years or so. One thing I wanted to mention was that I was really impressed by the Cuban families. I assume they were Cuban families because there's lots of Cubans down in Miami, but they were, Latino families. It's a broader concept. And I don't know whether we had stumbled upon a wedding party. It was kind of like, I can't remember what night it could have been. It could have been Saturday night, whatever night it was. But we had spent the night in Miami. And it looked like the Cuban families went clubbing, and so in middle America, the teenagers hung out together, the 20-somethings hang out together, the 30 and 40-somethings hang out together, and the 50s, 60s hang out together. In other words, we're kind of stratified by age. And so the young people want to hang around with young people, and that's understandable. But in this instance, I noticed that 3 or 4 generations of Cubans would go out together clubbing. And so you might have like a 10, 12, 14-year-old, and you might have, the 20-something, the older teens, the 30s and 40s, 50s and 60s, grandma, and they're all out together clubbing, and they're all dressed to the nines. So I don't know whether that still happens, but back then it was like, wow, the Cubans go out as families socializing and clubbing, and they dress up to go out. Now, like I said, I may have stumbled onto a marriage party, but it seemed like there was a lot of Cuban families that had that sense about them. And at the end of the day, it was pretty cool to see like grandma, 70 years old, dressed out, going clubbing with, their 14-year-old great granddaughter, and, and everybody going out as a family to enjoy, I guess, dinner and dancing. And so it kind of spoke to me about how some Latino families operate, that we as the typical Midwestern American families, we don't see it very often. So anyhow, the honeymoon was a great start for my marriage. It was fun. I think my wife enjoyed herself. We had like a mini adventure every day where we would take day trips. And so my honeymoon was an enjoyable experience, and have absolutely no regrets about it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.